Venom-O-Us, Chapter 2, Incubation Period. We really are beautiful. You turn this way and that, looking at your new body through the mirror. The tendrils surrounding you seem to defy gravity and float around even more aggressively at your words. You could feel in the dark corners of your brain hints of excitement different to your own. It made you smile, and you quickly turned to the door to your apartment.
No door. Window.
That made you pause. The window?
We don't need door, just jump. We'll be safe.
You sucked air through your teeth, feeling your concern rising as you turned towards the window. Memories that belonged to your other flashed in your mind, leaping between buildings, traveling like Spider-Man, falling but never seeming to get hurt. It was comforting, and you slowly opened your window and stuck your head out. I don't know about this. Shouldn't we learn to walk before trying to run? Your apartment wasn't incredibly high compared to the others surrounding it, just 3 stories, but you knew most humans probably wouldn't survive a jump from it.
Already walked. Time to jump. Trust in us.
Taking a breath to steady yourself against the windowsill, you calmed your nerves and thoughts. Trust. You did trust them, even though you just met. You could feel how closely they embraced you, how you knew they would never let anything bad happen to you, but were you really ready to just sign off your life to an extraterrestrial being, no questions asked? You nodded, figuring, yes, you really don't have much else to do anyway, and carefully angled your now much larger shoulders through the frame. You grabbed on the brick ledge outside the window, allowing yourself to just go with what felt natural. You pulled yourself up and out, turning your back to the alleyway and stepping onto the windowsill with your feet before turning and facing the surrounding buildings. The air blew up at you, the sounds of late-night traffic coming with it. You looked up to the cloudy sky, seeing the light pollution bounce back to be not as dark as your old home. All right, let's do this. You looked back down to the alleyway, heart beating harder, and you jumped. The windowsill under your feet cracked as you felt yourself launched into the night air, higher and further than anything as big as you had any right to. The breath in your lungs caught in your throat as you seemed to fly before you started to fall. You let out a slight yell as the rooftops rushed at you, but your arms on their own command reached out and a dark web shot out of the back of your wrist and stuck to a nearby building. Your other hand instinctively grabbed it, and like an oversized pendulum, you swung. Your yells turned into laughs of delight as you whooshed past the buildings, letting your body work on autopilot as it rode the webbing through the city. It was like the most accelerating roller coaster you've ever been on.
See? We're doing better than running.
Yeah, we are! You cheered, laughing as your arms pulled extra hard on one swing, launching you even higher. This is amazing! Is this what Spider-Man feels like all the time? You asked, probably louder than you needed to, but the sound of air rushing by made you feel like you had to speak up. Memories flashed in your mind of being with Spider-Man, swinging with him, feeling the casual enjoyment of the rush, the tolling of the bells. The last memory was violent, jutting into the others and startling you out of the memories and causing you to flinch. Your hand missed the next webbing. You shrieked as you fell a couple feet before your arms quickly reached out and created another web to grab. This time, you caught it. You rode the web to its peak before jumping onto the corner of a building, digging your nails into the bricks and catching your breath. Sorry, you whispered, trying to calm your heart from the panic of falling. I didn't mean...
We slipped.
You hung to the edge of the building for a moment, concerned for your other. Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? There was a long, silent pause, and you wondered if you asked loud enough.
No time for talk. Time for being heroes.
Before you could ask anything more, you felt your grip loosen on the edge of the building. You fell back a moment before your wrist whipped out and you swung closer to the ground. You realized you weren't so much on autopilot, rather your other was just taking control of your limbs themselves.
Is that all right?
The question shocked you, realizing that your other could indeed hear your thoughts. You quickly nodded, taking care to watch the actions your limbs were making. Oh, yeah, completely. You're the one used to doing this. I have no idea what all we can do. More memories started to flash in your mind, but you shook your head to clear them. No, that's enough memories for tonight. You can take the lead for now. I'll watch and learn. Maybe later you can show me more. Excitement bubbled in the back of your brain, and you felt your movements change course.
There! Baddies!
You looked down the alleyway you were just about to pass and saw two men pinning another against the brick wall. All right, you'll deal with this and then talk with your other about whatever that episode was. You were down to help it through anything, but you needed to know you weren't about to fall to your death because of some bad PTSD. Your hand let go of the web and you fell for a moment, jumping off of the edge of a building and landing loudly a few yards away from the men. They jumped back, one keeping a gun to the stranger's face, and the other pulled out a gun towards you as you slowly stood up. You clenched your fist and suddenly realized how conscious of your actions you were. You thought your other was going to be showing you the basics before letting you loose. I mean, you still didn't have the hang of all this. "Hey, is that fucking Venom?" One of them hissed under his breath. You glanced over your shoulder, looking for who he was talking about. Venom? Oh, us. Right. You quickly corrected yourself and faced them, pulling your shoulders back and trying to look intimidating. It seemed to be easy enough, as the one holding the gun your way was clearly shaking and shuffling his feet back. The other one didn't seem as convinced. "Ah, that ain't Venom. Have you seen the newspapers? He's supposed to be way more buff than that." He scoffed and waved the gun in your direction. "Piss off, poser. We're busy."
Preying on the innocent.
Your voice spoke without permission, and you stepped forward. A gunshot went off, and you reached out to the stranger, thinking you were too slow, only to realize that it was the gun in your direction that went off. You felt confusion for a moment before the blackness in your chest built and spit out the bullet at the thug's feet. He fucking shot at you, and you didn't feel a thing. You smiled, feeling the burning of your anger ready to act. "Holy shit, it is Venom!" The guy facing you started to shout, but your fist swung at him, releasing a huge glob of the blackness onto his face. He fell back and grabbed at the ooze as his shouts muffled, and the other man yelled and started firing his gun at you, allowing the guy they had pinned against the wall to escape. You casually watched the stranger run out of the alleyway as the thug fired all of his bullets at you, and you slowly turned your gaze back to the now empty gun.
Innocent saved.
The sound of bits of metal dropping to the concrete let you know Venom spit the bullets back out, and you stepped forward. The man yelled and turned to flee, but you wouldn't be having that. You reached forward, thick tendrils of blackness extending from your fingertips and coiling around the man before he could make it more than a couple feet. You yanked back, and he fell hard on his face before being slowly pulled in your direction. No. Come on, man. Don't eat my brains. I'll never do this shit again, I swear. He cried as he thrashed in your grip. You pulled him up face to face to get a good look at the trash, so ready to unload a clip into some innocent. Then what he said finally registered in your mind. We don't eat brains, you quickly said, but there was a hint of doubt in your voice. Right? You added aside, quieter and higher pitched than you meant.
No brains. Not anymore.
Yeah, no, we don't do that anymore, you said, shaking your head. The man didn't seem convinced, but you tossed the guy onto your shoulder. Now let's get you and your buddy to... You looked over to the other thug and noticed he was sitting against the wall completely still, with the blob still covering his face. Wait, oh no! You dropped the guy on your shoulder to the ground as you ran up to the other one, effortlessly tearing the blackness from his face. His glossy eyes were still open and he wasn't breathing. We killed him. You felt your eyes widen, realizing your mistake. Venom, we killed him.
He was not innocent.
We didn't know how guilty he was, though. We didn't need to... Oh, God, this isn't good. You brought a hand to your mouth, feeling a bit sick.
We did good. We saved the innocent.
Okay, we're gonna need to have a serious talk. You covered your mouth as you felt your gag, and you quickly stepped away from the body before promptly emptying your stomach against the wall. You didn't feel the usual burn in your throat when you did, but you did feel something in the back of your mind you just couldn't identify.
He's trying to escape.
You looked back, seeing the thug still wrapped up in the dark tendrils, struggling until he noticed you watching him. You honestly didn't know what to do. You just assisted in killing a man. Weren't you supposed to be a hero now? You don't remember any news articles about heroes actually killing anyone. At most, they get blamed for failing to save people. This seemed wrong. The man seemed to sweat more the longer you stared at him, lost in your thoughts, anxious about being the next victim. You noticed his expression getting increasingly more worried, and you quickly stood up straight. He flinched as you walked over and picked him up, bringing him eye level once more.
We are going to drop you off at a police station now. You will tell them you are a bad person and you need to be locked up. And if I see you on the streets again, you're going to wish you were your friend right now.
You snarled at the man, and he nodded as he whimpered, agreeing to everything you were saying. You rolled your eyes, not sure if he could see it or not, and threw him onto your shoulder again. Venom was quiet. Okay, so you killed a guy. Sure, he was a thug, but if you kill a killer, doesn't the amount of killers in the world stay the same? Maybe if you killed a lot of killers, the number would be better. No, wait, you're thinking too much on this. Focus on the bad guy you have right now, and you'll figure everything else out later. You walked to the streets, watching a few cars drive by, even though it was so late. Well, you assumed it was late. You realize you haven't seen the time since you woke up. You'd never seen New York so quiet before, so one could assume. You started heading deeper into the city, almost enjoying the quiet. There were a few people walking together on the sidewalk in your direction, but once they saw you coming, they immediately jaywalked to get to the other side and continued minding their own business. Smart. After walking a block in silence, other than the man grunting every time you adjusted him on your shoulder, you realized you had no idea where the police station would be in this part of New York. You stopped walking, you could feel the man tense up in your grip. You hummed, looking down the streets, looking for any hint of a direction. Hey, thug, you know where the cops are? You felt him shake his head. He could easily be lying, but you didn't feel like trying to interrogate him just for a location. While looking for signs for the police station, you noticed some payphones built into one of the sides of a building, and that would be good enough. You walked up to them and threw the man down next to them, who let out a oomph at the impact. You quickly tapped the receiver on the phone to see if there's any extra change in it, but no such luck. You have a quarter? You nudged the man with your foot, rolling him to his back. You saw him staring up at you with the most bewildered face. What kind of fucking monster are you? He asked, and you suppose, well, yeah, that's fair.
The new kind, not from here.
You bent close to him and started digging through his pockets as he started to struggle against the tendrils again, but they seemed to be much stronger than they looked. Your massive hands were too big for his pockets, only managing to reach in with just your finger and thumb. Let's see, bag of weed, wallet, extra clip, loose bullets, no change. What, you never heard of a cell phone? You grumbled, making sure his pockets were empty. Haven't you? He snapped back, not enjoying the pat down. You huffed and opened the wallet, seeing an ID along with $200 bills and a few 20s. You felt your eyes widen looking at the cash, unbelieving that someone would be holding more than half of your weekly paycheck just on their person. You pulled it out and instinctively brought it close to your chest, meeting a dark tendril to pull it into the darkness of your body. That's handy, and it also gave you an idea. You tossed the empty wallet onto the thug's face and got close to the payphone, jabbing a finger in the pay slot. You could feel Venom's tendrils gush through the opening and search out change. When you pulled your finger back, a quarter followed. That's very handy. You put the quarter in the payphone and called the number you knew for the police. It rang twice before someone answered. New York City Police, 6th Precinct. How may I assist? You cleared your throat and hunched into the phone. Yeah, hey, I caught a bad guy. I'm new to town, so I'm just gonna leave him by these payphones. Cool? You heard the person on the other side of the phone react. Sorry, what was that? They asked, voice slightly louder. There was a guy trying to shoot someone else, so I stopped him. You are welcome. You looked down at the thug, and he was trying to struggle against the bindings. I'm getting tired, though, so, I don't want to keep looking around to find the station, so I'll just be leaving him at these payphones. Don't worry, I'll knock the guy out for you. The thug looked up at you at that. Let's see, I'm at... Oh, God, wait, where am I? You looked back at the corner of the street, seeing the signs down the road a bit. You surprised yourself at the fact that you were able to make out the details. Right, so that's, Ganzavort? Whatever, street. And W13. Oh, West 13. Yeah, those streets. There was a moment of silence before they spoke up again. Someone's on their way. Please state...
Nah.
You hung up. All right, thug, gonna knock you out now. Be good with the police and all that. You grabbed the man by his collar again and held him up, and he started thrashing again. Oh, come on, don't be like that. You were bad, and now you're getting your just desserts. You tried comforting him, but he spat at you instead. You sighed. Hey, at least you tried. Your fist cracked against his cheekbone, and he stopped struggling. You held him a moment and looked closer, worried for a second that you might have killed him. Holding a hand in front of his nose, you barely felt his breath, which was better than nothing. Nice. You propped him up against the payphone, struggling to keep him from just ragdolling into the ground every time you let go. Not nice. Come on, work with me here. You continued trying to place him properly for a few minutes until the flash of red and blue appeared behind you, and you saw a police car silently driving in your direction. You expected sirens, so you weren't looking out for them. Letting the body fall to its own accord, you quickly leapt up and webbed away from the scene as you heard a shout call out from behind you. The speed and excitement from swinging between the buildings still made you smile, though this time you weren't cheering out loud. You had a lot on your mind, and you had trouble organizing your thoughts at the moment. You also had no idea where you were going.
Home.
Venom's voice offered, and you were thankful that they knew where the two of you were going. You never seen New York at this perspective, and you were still new enough here that you relied on your phone's GPS for nearly everything at this point. Though eventually buildings started to look familiar, and your apartment complex came into view. You leapt into the air, turning gracefully and jumping onto the brick wall. You dug your nails in and quickly climbed up to your window, noticing the crack on the sill, and slipped in. You took a deep breath as you stood in your apartment, looking around before bringing a hand to run through your hair. You blinked, noticing that you actually felt your hair now. Looking at your hands, you saw the blackness pull away from your limbs and slowly form into your pajamas once more, immediately making you feel warm and comfortable once again. You took a step and felt a slight crinkle in your pocket, and when you reached in, the money from earlier was in it.
We did good tonight.
Yeah, okay, about that. You turned around in your room with a raised finger as if trying to talk to someone else. You needed a face to talk to. Unfortunately, there wasn't exactly any posters hanging in your room anymore. You notice your reflection on the glass of your turned-off TV. That's good enough. We need to talk about killing that guy. Not cool.
He was not an innocent.
Okay, I get that, but really, we don't know for sure how gray he was, you know? He wasn't evil, that's for damn sure. He was just bugging that guy, I guess. Holy shit, we didn't even ask what they were doing. You realized, bringing a hand to your head, heroes in TV shows made everything seem so much easier than real life.
He was ready to kill. Punishment fit the crime.
He had a gun doesn't necessarily mean he was going to use it. You pointed a finger at your reflection. It might have just been there for intimidation for all we know.
He shot us.
Ah, yeah, you forgot about that. You dropped the finger and stared at the reflection. Okay, yeah, I get that. I guess you kind of have a point there. You vaguely motioned with your hands and walked around the room deep in thought. He was super antsy and had that itchy trigger finger. If anyone else tried interrupting that scene, they would have probably been shot and possibly killed as well, you reasoned aloud. Therefore, punishment fit the crime. Okay, Venom, I'll give that to you. Point one for you. Part of your mind felt like it was screaming, still trying to comprehend you killing someone tonight, and the fact that you were rationalizing it. The other part, and honestly the larger of the two, however, agreed with Venom. In the end, it was probably the right thing to do. You might have not been a TV show's definition of heroic tonight, but you saved possible innocent lives of getting mixed up in that situation, and that was something. You stopped walking around. What was that about eating brains earlier? You asked, feeling your eyebrows lower slightly.
Didn't know better. Needed the phenethylamine.
The long word had no meaning to you. I mean, it did shock you that Venom said it, seeing as they seem to have been keeping their language pretty simple so far. But you did eat brains at some point?
We ate a few. We tried not to. Eddie got angry. Don't like making Eddie angry.
Eddie? You walked over to your laptop and quickly opened it, searching up news relating to Venom. It's been a while since you've looked at actual news, as it used to make you feel too insignificant too often. The only reason you've learned about so many heroes and villains around New York was because of small talk in the reception room. So when Venom popped up as a cannibalistic villain, it hit you like a brick to the head.
That was old us.
Your eyes raced against the words on the screen, reading about Eddie Brock, once a disgraced newspaper writer, turning into a monstrous villain that plagued the city, leaving corpses in his wake.
We got better.
You read about his arrest from years ago and the list of charges released to the press.
Please.
You scrolled further, seeing more hideous photos of forms of Venom that you weren't shown in the memories.
That isn't us.
You closed your laptop, breathing hard, trying to fully comprehend exactly what you got yourself into. You were really regretting not paying more attention to the news.
They don't know about the good we did. The innocents we saved.
Maybe not, but how much good did one have to do to clean up that much blood? You brought your face to your hands, taking deep breaths and trying to calm down. There was the fear of the alien that was attached to you now, sure, but there was a much worse fear turning in your gut. You just tasted power for the first time in your life. And you knew you wouldn't be able to give it up. Villain or otherwise.